Jimmy, I understand completely you cannot talk about the specifics of the case. What I think you can comment on are comments that we got on Monday in a statement from the Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office, which is basically the body of China here that oversees Hong Kong affairs under the State Council. So their words have weight. Let me read you what they said on Monday. I'm sure you've seen it, but they said that Jimmy Lai participated in planning, organizing, and launching a series of illegal protest activities, using his media to create and spread rumors, incite and support violence, and contribute to anti-China chaos in Hong Kong and Hong Kong independence forces. It fully shows that justice may be late, but it will never be absent. What does this tell you when the Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office under the State Council puts this statement out before you've even been officially charged, before there's a trial, before there is a verdict? Do you feel you can get a fair trial here?
I don't know. Just like you said, before any evidence, they just claim presume that I'm guilty. So, this is not the way the law is. I should be presumed innocent. And one thing I can say from the statement they made is, we have never support independence of Hong Kong. I myself, or my organization, my media, or I never, I have never agreed with those people who support Hong Kong independence. I always treat this as a conspiracy set up by the CCP to track us in, to give them excuse to clamp down on us. From day one, that's my stand. And I've never changed that stand. I think, Hong Kong independence is something definitely impossible, and it is something that, it is ridiculous. I never support this, and I always say that this is not what we should do. What we should try to do is to get the right that we are entitled in our basic law, which is a universal suffrage and the protection of our rule of law, private property, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of religion. All this we are guaranteed in our basic law, which has been what we are fighting for, and no more and no less.
Now, Jimmy, in September, when I last spoke to you in person for Hong Kong On Edge, you told me that the only support you had received from U.S. officials or U.S. sources was only moral support, and that there was not a shred of evidence linking you to receiving government money. Could you, though, talk a little bit about what your connection, if at all, with the crowdfunding website, I Want My Lam Cao, which basically has collected lots of money from all around the world, from anonymous sources, to supposedly, allegedly fund the protest movement. Now, there have been reports, and you can refute this if you like, that you have been also funneling money through this crowdfunding website globally through international banks. What can you say about that, Jimmy?
I've never given 1 cent or 1 dime to the movement. And nobody has given us any money except moral support. That's all I can tell you.
Did you get any indication that this is where the prosecutors or the police are centering their investigation around?
That I am not allowed to say, but I think you can guess.
Okay. Can we talk about your company? We've seen about 1,100% surge in your shares of Next Digital. We're seeing the share price right now. It has fallen back of late. The SFC, the Securities and Futures Commission here, put out a warning a couple of days ago for investors to use extreme caution on these shares. We're also learning as well that the SFC has put out a statement today asking brokers for trading data as well as client information. I don't want to speculate what the SFC might be trying to look into. What do you think they are trying to do?
I don't know what they're trying to do. Those people who bought the share to check it up, it's just an expression of support for the company. You know, they knew, I think when they bought it, they knew that it would drop back because the intrinsic value is not there. It just people want to support us and to show that the gesture by buying up the stock. I asked people when the first when I came out from the police station, I said, look, don't buy because you will lose money. And they just show support. Like the same that they bought our newspaper. 1 o'clock in the morning, they line up in the newspaper stand to wait for the publication of it. This just people, Hong Kong people support for the newspaper an expression of the anger of the rate of our newsroom and the rest of myself.
Now, the rally in your shares seems to be, at least right now, a bit short term. Did you ever consider in the last couple of days, I know you were preoccupied, but possibly issuing more shares to take advantage of this? And do you also have any plans, given the uncertainty surrounding your future, of divesting? You own 71%, according to the latest data on the Bloomberg terminal, of Next Digital.
Yeah. When people suggest that, I issue new share, I think this is a very dishonest way to do it. I tell them that, cheating is not our business.
Now, what is the future of Apple Daily, which is under, of course, Next Digital, the parent company, the listed company?
We will persist. There's no doubt.
Do you need to You serve a role in this community. You have been critical of the government. You've been critical of China. In an international financial center, many people say that you need dissenting media. You need a platform for these kinds of voices to be heard. Are you practicing, since the national security law, self-censorship and monitoring what you're saying on your Next Digital platforms?
We can't do that because the national security law is very vague in general. Even people wants to really, toe the line. There's a long line for you to toe, and we cannot change what we have been doing. We don't think what we have been doing is wrong. We are just practicing the freedom of speech, and that's it. We are just letting the community here to have the voice of their own, and that's what we have done. If that is a crime, we can't do anything else.
Mm-hmm. Do you have plans at all to divest any of your holdings? Like I said, at least from March of 2019 is the latest data we have on your shareholdings on the Bloomberg terminal, 71% and change. Do you have any contingency plans to divest, to sell those shares?
No, I have. I won't divest my holding in Apple Daily. We have divest Apple Daily, so we have our presence in Taiwan. We are the biggest newspaper in Taiwan, and online. On both on the paper and online, we're the biggest, and that's what we have divest.